Good morning. Happy Tuesday. It's Kitty Boitnott of Boitnott Coaching, and I'm back with a short video message. Again, it's not really Tuesday for me. It is Thursday. It's still April. It's April the 30th. But I decided to take advantage of the fact that I'm currently at home with my equipment and that I could go ahead and record this message and get a newsletter written for next week and be ready for you to open this up and see how things are going and hear how things are going. I shared with you in my written newsletter last week that my mom's in the hospital. Here it is Thursday. She's been in the hospital a little over a week. She went in last Tuesday. She has moved from one hospital facility to another, and she's doing well today. In fact, they're starting her on solid food, and if she can keep it down and she starts to get a little stronger, they will talk about discharging her. Now, I don't know whether she'll wind up going into a rehab. She wants to go home. We'll see if we can manage that or not. I don't know. But it means for me, for the next little while at least, for a few days, I'm very much at the whimsy of however she's doing, and my schedule is simply day by day. Right now, I'm planning to go back home to be with her and to relieve my sister a little bit tomorrow. So we'll see how things go. And all of that is by way of saying that, last week I reflected on the difference between what's urgent and then what's important. I love Stephen Covey's quote about that. We often succumb to things that are urgent but are not important, and we neglect the things that are important because they're not urgent. This week, I'm thinking more in terms of the fact that it is absolutely true, and yet we forget it more often than not, that we have nothing more than the present moment, right now. And we go through, we get desensitized to that, and we start thinking that, A, we're in control of what's going on in our lives when we're really not. And B, that the status quo is always going to stay the status quo, when the reality is that the only constant is change. I don't know what next week will hold for my mom or for my family or for anybody else. I know that nothing ever stays the same. And that's part of the reason I wrote the little book that I wrote about being stressed, stretched, and just plain overwhelmed. If you take care of yourself during the calm periods in your life by following at least some of those 7 strategies that I share in the book, then when you have a stressful period like the one my family is experiencing right now, you're in a better position to manage that stress. You're resilient. You can cope with it much better. You don't get strung out or feel overwhelmed as quickly. So if you haven't yet downloaded Stressed, Stretched, and Just Plain Overwhelmed, I encourage you to do that. I've even heard back from some of the folks who have downloaded it and read it that they enjoyed it, and I appreciate that. And if you'd like, offer a review of it on Amazon. That would be awesome. But that's all I have to say today. We are all just sort of going from moment to moment. And when we start making long-range plans, it's important that we do that, but it's also important to remember that sometimes we have to be resilient enough to go with the flow when things don't go the way we planned. And that's the message. Go with the flow. Be prepared and go with the flow. So have a great week. I will hopefully talk with you next week. We'll see. May just be another newsletter. I don't know. At this point, I'm not planning more than a couple of days ahead. So have a good week. Have a good weekend as it comes up. And I hope to talk to you next week.